Well, it is new guitar day. Kind of, because I know what you're saying. That box is way too small to have a full guitar in it. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to open it up, see what we got. I got the Husky with me and my assistant, and we're going to get this started. 3, 2, 1. And we're back underway. Got the next box. Box within a box, I guess, is always a good thing. Obviously from Harley Benton, but still too small to be a full guitar, right? Let's find out. Hang on. Let's go. More boxes within boxes. Alrighty. Move that. Let's see here. Alright, now we're getting down to the meat. Alright, spoiler. Cat's out of the bag. Let's see, what do we got? Doing this one-handed is a lot of fun, gotta tell you. Plastic out. And body. So, single cut. I don't even remember what type of wood this is, but looks to be in good shape. Flip it over. Yep. Okay. I bet you this box over here is all the electronics and others. Yep. Alright. So a lot of electronics, a lot of small parts, cavity covers, wiring. I'm assuming stuff like the tuning machines and the pickup rings, the pickups themselves, the bridge, all that fun stuff. And last but certainly not least, okay, so this part is my next biggest concern. You can do a lot with a body. You can make a lot of modifications, help it quite a bit. But if the neck is in bad shape, well, there's only so much you can do. So, yeah, okay. I like it. I like it a lot. So, what are we going to do with all this? Well, to be honest, this video is going to come in parts, and it's probably going to take me a little while to shoot. I've got plans to do not only a full assembly, but we're going to do some paint work on this. Hopefully some elaborate paint work on this. I plan to get it professionally set up. I've also planned to get the non-stock pickups put into it. I haven't decided exactly what pickups I'm going to put in, but I have an idea. But we're going to move away from this for the moment, and I'll be back with the next step. See ya. Alright, so the next step is to get paint on this bad boy. What I'm going to go for is like a blue swirl, and what I've seen it called online is hydro dipping. I did as much research as I could, but to be honest, I've never done paint on a guitar build before. Even the last build that I did, the paint was already applied. The dude had his own design going. So I'm in new territory here. The wood grain on this is rough enough that I don't think I need to pre-sand. However, I do think I need a base coat or primer. The recommendation I had for the hydro dipping was whatever your lightest shade is in the swirl, you need to have a base coat that is that light or a similar shade. So that's what I'm going to do. For the hydro swirl, or for the hydro dipping, what I'm going to go for is blue and silver. So I'm going to go for a silver base coat. I've actually got that prepared. What I did to set up here is the body does have a binding on it. So I kind of want to preserve that as much as I can. I don't want to cover it up. It's just kind of a classy little detail that I think will go well with this. In order to protect it, I've got just regular painter's tape stuck on here, and then I carved out with an X-Acto knife. I don't think it's going to protect the whole thing. I think I'm still going to have to do some brush up work after it's done. But now that it is taped up, now that the binding is somewhat protected, I'm going to go ahead and take it outside. I'm going to put the base coat on, and as soon as that's done, I'll show you that result. We'll get it hung up, and we'll get ready for the next step. Okay, so the primer is applied, and honestly, it's pretty bad. I should not have chosen this path. This was not smart. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do some touch up on it. I'm gonna hang it up to dry. I think I'm gonna buff it before I put on the actual paint, before I actually do the hydro dipping. Yeah, this is pretty bad. I should have taken a different route. Well,
Live and learn.
Well, post lessons learned. We tried doing our first swirl yesterday just because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, and it turned out horrible. Combination of bad techniques and I don't know, just more bad techniques. So I went back and I watched some of the videos that I was watching on hydro dipping and got a couple tips, a couple pointers. So we're going to try this again. I sanded down as much of the paint that stuck as I could. I applied another base shell on the outside, and now we're ready to go for round 2. As far as the paints go, we're going to use the same ones. Last time we got the metallic blue and the silver going in. We're going to start the marbling in the water, and then we're going to do the dip and hope for better results than yesterday. I'm going to put the body down. Nice and easy since I put it on rocks. Already gave these a shake, but we'll shake them again. Now I'm going to base it with the blue because I want more of the blue than the silver, especially since the base coat is silver. And I'm going to go all over the top with this. What I learned yesterday was that I need the water to be fairly opaque by the time I do the dip. And I also learned that I need to do fewer swirls. And I learned that I got about a 3-minute window before it starts to congeal beyond the point of like being okay. Now again, I'm not going to use too much silver because I really want the blue to be the star here. And honestly, we're just going to keep going until I feel like I've got a nice opaque surface. I might not even do a swirl in this. Depending on how this pattern looks after I'm done dropping the paint, we might just go from there. And if it ends up being this kind of silver swirl pattern, I can think of worse things. And see, this is already what I'm worried about. Some of these areas in the middle are not having paint. I don't know why. I don't know what's causing the paint to stick in some areas and not in others. Maybe it's the water. I mean, we have hard water here. So maybe the nature of the water is causing it to do this? I'm not sure. Alright, we're going to do a little bit more silver, a little bit more blue. I feel like we got a opaque surface going on here. Okay. Alright. I think I'm actually gonna just do this. Like minimal. Okay. I'm gonna do this nice and slow. And hope for the best. I'm actually fighting the buoyancy of the instrument here just a smidge. Go nice and slow. Yeah, the instrument is actually really fighting me here. Okay, I got it fully submerged. All this surface water away as best I can. And bring it up. Well, that is not what I was going for, but I actually kind of like it. There's very little paint on the top. There's a lot of paint in the bottom, which makes sense. I might have to do something about the top. But honestly, this is a lot better the second time around, and I actually kind of like the pattern, so I might stick with this and just do some touch-ups. We're going to stop it here, but the next steps are going to be a clear coat, a sanding, maybe a couple more clear coats, and then we'll move on to assembly. We are back after the hydro dip and cannot be happier that that portion is done. Unfortunately, this is one of those instances where the effort expended does not equal the quality. The quality is disproportionate to the effort and frustration. As you can see, the paint job got rough. There was some stuff that I chose not to film, that I chose not to have in there. Like, for example, the first dip we did, I will not have as part of this video, and thankfully, the second dip we will have. Unfortunately, right after we stopped shooting that bit, like seconds after we hit the stop button, I dropped this guitar on the ground. It fell in the rocks, it fell in the dirt, it fell in the grass. The paint was still fresh. There's a massive chip on the bottom binding, and it just got wrecked. And overall, the aesthetic wasn't what I wanted either. There's a whole bunch of problems in here. Like, you can see my thumbprints everywhere. You can see there's lines from where we had trouble with the buoyancy in the guitar and the dip. Down here in the bottom, there's all these pock marks and bubbles that came up. I'll pull this up and you can see where the chip in the binding is. Yeah, just rough. We even tried sanding some of this stuff down and doing a second dip, but we actually ran out of the paint, the hydro paint that we needed, and it just didn't come out. I'll flip this around so we can see the back here. Yeah, so see a lot more of the same. Just, there's some cool effect on here, don't get me wrong. I really like the silver and the blue, and to be honest, the bubbles that came up and that popped up kind of adds the whole liquid effect. It kind of adds to the whole theme. So I'm not mad about that, but it just didn't come out the way that I wanted. My wife says that there's some character with this guitar because of the fact that we dropped it and this has all been a learning experience. I agree with her. We'll take a look here at the headstock. See, I can only get like some minimal effect there with the silver paint and the blue. Yeah, see, this wasn't even great either. We even did a separate dip for the headstock and it still didn't come out the way we wanted it. After we did all that, and I chose not to film this just because it took forever and it wasn't very entertaining, I added in, I think, 4 coats of clear coat and then 3 coats of polyurethane. I did that for both the body and for the headstock. And on the neck itself, on the back, I gave it 4 layers? I'm trying to remember, 3 or 4 layers of the polyurethane, and that actually feels really good. If there was any part of this that I was really happy with, it'd be the back of the neck stock. Back of the neck. I really like what the polyurethane did for the neck, and it feels great. Bottom line, we're done with the body, at least as far as the paint and the finish goes. Looks pretty terrible, but it's time to move on. It's time to do the actual assembly. Some of the parts that came with this I wasn't thrilled with, so I got some replacements. Namely, I wasn't thrilled with the knobs that came with it, so we upgraded the knobs from my local music store. So got some new stuff right here. And then we went ahead and got some new pickups. For the bridge position, we're going with the 490R, and for the neck position, we're going with the 490R. For the bridge position, we're going with the Dirty Fingers pickup from Gibson. I've never tried Gibson pickups, heard good things, kind of excited to give them a try. They'll be replacing the stock pickups that came with this build. And then the last thing that we upgraded, or second to last thing we upgraded, were the pickup rings. I wanted to go chrome to go with the rest of the hardware. So chrome pickup rings, chrome knobs. And then I also have some Hipshot locking tuners that are coming, but they won't be arriving until tomorrow. So I'll be totally finished with the build tomorrow, but for now, it's time to build. And since I don't think you guys want to watch the build, we'll cut back once that's done, at least with this phase of it. Anyway, see you then. And shazam! We're back, and it's built. Look at it! It looks fantastic. To be honest, after the paint job, I thought this was going to get super rocky. Like, if the paint job was a precursor to how everything else was going to go, it would be terrible. That is not the case. I love this thing. Look at this thing. Fantastic. And to be honest, some of the things we talked about with the upgraded parts, they came out exactly the way I would have hoped. Chrome knobs look fantastic. The chrome pickup rings, even the chrome nature of the 490R in the neck position, all of that kind of fits a great theme, and it stands in contrast to the fretboard the neck. It's got a nice little light and dark theme going on. Same thing with the dirty finger pickup there in the bridge position. It's got a black contrast with the chrome pickup rings and the blue and silver of the paint job. Let's move up the neck a little bit. Check out the headstock. All right, so quick call out here. I wanted to say thank you to my wife. She painted my logo right up here. It's got our little theme. It's got Echo up there. He's the inspiration behind this brand and what I'm doing here. I also got the Hipshot locking tuners that are in place. They're doing the job exactly the way I would have expected. Overall, I could not be happier with this instrument. This thing looks great. But you know what? You didn't just want to see how it looks. You wanted to hear how it sounds. We're going to do a couple sound samples here in a few minutes. We're going to do some cleans. We're going to do some dirties. But as you saw in that opening clip, it is working. So we'll just get a little bit deeper into the sound. But, sorry, I just got to drink it in. I like it. All right, see you for the sound sample. Well, folks, thank you very much for joining me for this video. It's been quite an adventure. This is my second ever guitar build, but, you know, given what you just watched, you'd guess it was the first. Maybe not all that wrong. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Feel free to slap a like on there if you're feeling amiable. Other than that, I hope you take care of yourselves, stay healthy. I'll catch you for the next one.